what language would you advise families to use when they either need to speak to HR or when they call that little number? Because you ain't lying, I hate having to call that little number, but it's better to know what you need to know. So what language would you advise them to use as a nurse and healthcare provider yourself that would get them the answers that they need?
I don't necessarily think that there is a specific language that needs to be used outside of help. help, help me. I think everybody understands help. So, with that being said, I think just going in and honestly just letting them know this is what I'm looking for, this is what I need. Um Even as far as like giving them the scenario, like, if my loved one was to go into the hospital or if they had to go to the emergency room, what's covered and what's not covered.
Mm.
Now, leading into that, let's say that your loved one does go into the hospital or you do go to a clinic or anything like that, and your insurance is charged. Always, always, always ask for an explanation of benefits,
Mm.
also known as an EOB. That will be a complete breakdown of what services was provided to you or to your loved one, what you're actually paying for. Some entities even give an itemized bill. So, like, if they took your vital signs, how much did that cost? If they gave you a band-aid, how much did that cost? Like, and so that way you understand and you know what it is that you're paying for and what the insurance is covering or is not covering. Because oftentimes what'll happen is the insurance just wants their money. The hospital wants their money. Who's the person that's in the middle?
Mm.
We are. So we're the ones, if insurance can't get their money through the hospital because the hospital says that they're not paying it, then the insurance still need their money or the hospital still needs their money. So then that's when we get billed whatever the insurances don't pay. However, there are often times that if you call the insurance company or even call the hospital and say, hey, this is my explanation of benefits and this is what is covered, then you get a total different number, or come to find out sometimes they may even owe you money. So really dive into using that little number on the back. I promise you, it's gonna be frustrating at first, but once you understand what is covered and what your insurance provides you with, then you will have a greater understanding. Again, like I said earlier in this segment, when you know better, you do better.
Mm.
And so educating yourself and just asking questions, like ask the question, what does this cover? And if they say, do you understand? And you don't understand, say, no, I don't understand. So that they could further give you what it is that you need.
Thank you so much. And yes, y'all ask questions and tell them to talk to you like you're a 5-year-old. I love telling somebody, break it down to me as if I was 5. I want it to
Oh,
be as clear as possible. I don't want to misunderstand a thing. I think we underestimate the wisdom in going back to a childhood mindset, right? Things were simplistic when we were children. Nobody was trying to make life deep for us. When you're adult, everybody wants to make things deep. We know. And families who are going through things like this, you are already frantic because with pancreatic cancer, it comes out of nowhere. The symptoms don't present themselves right away. My dad was diagnosed at stage 4 because the symptoms presented late stage and we weren't privy to the
mm-hmm.
symptoms. So we knew something was going on with my dad's health because he never got sick. My dad was the healthiest person we knew. He never got sick. He was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in his 50s.
Mm-hmm.
My mom said it was earlier than that, but I'm going to go with 50s because clearly trauma. I don't recall. I don't recall him having diabetes before then. And when he did tell me about it, I was toe up about it. I said, well, how long have we been having this? Right. So I was like, what do you mean he's had type 2 diabetes this whole time? But my dad did what was necessary to take care of himself. Right. And we have, I believe that my dad developed type 2 diabetes because of the stress of the nature of his occupation, being a pastor is stressful,
Mm-hmm.
and just, you know, you're oftentimes a counselor for other people's families. You're visiting people in hospitals, like all the things that come with that role. On top of having to take care of your own family, I just
Correct.
believe stress is what led to my dad developing that. And then he turns around and years later, he develops pancreatic cancer. And I remember doing a research study because I turned my dad into my own case study. And I was like, we got to find out what caused this. There
Mm-hmm.
are lots of risk factors about that can lead to and cause pancreatic cancer. I believe that my dad was caused by stress. So his body developing the diabetes, and then eventually over time, him developing the pancreatic cancer, which there is a correlation between type 2 diabetes and pancreatic cancer.
Makes sense to me.
Right.
Pancreas. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So because of that, I think it's imperative that families also learn that it's okay to employ somebody who can assist you even with these matters. If you are too inundated with everything else on your plate, or maybe you're just intimidated by that phone call, have somebody that you trust, a really close friend or family who can make that call with you, at least sitting with them by the phone so you can be taking notes, and they can assist you with asking those questions and being your spokesperson, if you will. Utilize the hospital social worker to assist you, if you know, because they're there to be they're the patient advocates. That's what they're there
Right.
for. um um Speaking of, because I do want to briefly educate people about this, can you please tell families about palliative care? Palliative
Oh,
care has been thought to be hospice. It is not.
sweet.
Yes, please educate my peeps about palliative care.
So palliative care is in between hospice and acute care. So you are technically too sick to stay in the acute care, which is a hospital, but you are not death ridden to where you are going to perish or pass away tomorrow or within the next week or two or whatnot. Um, and typically, some people can stay on hospice for longer than that. They can stay on hospice for a period of time. Hospice also, just a side note, hospice does not mean that you are going to die. You can come off of hospice. People can develop and get better and come off of hospice. Hospice is not the end. Now you can go from hospice to palliative care, and palliative care is something that um, is there. It's put in place to be able to assist those families who have what I like to call high acuity care. So people who need more time, who need more resources, who need more education, who needs all of those things. When I was a part of the home health team, they initiated the palliative care team, which I thought was really cool. There was a nurse practitioner and she traveled with a social worker. Those two, how'd they do it today?
Yeah.
Yes. Together. They were amazing together because you had the nurse practitioner who came in and who explained to you what was going on, and if you needed more medication or if your medication needed to be changed or if your pain level wasn't being managed correctly or any of those things, they would be able to make the adjustments. And then you had the social worker who was there who could kind of see what the caregiver wasn't saying. I'm tired. I don't have this. I'm overwhelmed. And they would be there to be able to give that person the resources that they needed: respite care, short term disability, any of those things, unemployment, whatever that looked like, for them to be able to provide effective care for their loved one. Not just care. When we do things, we want to be effective. And so look into seeing if the little number on the back, if your insurance covers palliative care and what that looks like for you, because sometimes they may not cover acute care, or acute care may be a little bit more expensive to be covered for your loved one to stay in the hospital. But hospice may mean that they are no longer going to cover them for certain things, right? Because you're saying that this person doesn't need it. But see if there's something that's right in the middle that they would be able to cover, and you may find out that you're covered for so much more than you would in acute and through hospice. So reach out, look into some palliative care.
Yes, because you want to have patient and family education. I,
Absolutely.
last year at a symposium through the Hirschberg Foundation, which is located at UCLA, through the Aggie Oncologist Center. Love them so much. I learned so much from them. And what I learned is that they have started assigning palliative care to families at the point of diagnosis,
Oh, that's great.
so that they have access to nutritional expertise and advice, exercise, how to keep their bodies active while they're going through treatment, and the holistic care that they provide to the family as a whole. And I just thought that blew my mind, because I said, what I learned about palliative care was not that. They always made it seem like palliative care was literally like a baby step above hospice, and then hospice, you was just getting ready to clock out. So I was very happy to learn, as you just explained, those differences, and that those are additional resources that are actually beneficial to your family. I
Correct.
um I want to touch on a little bit before we move on, but what you said was so key. So something that a lot of families, I don't think, realize that they get also is patient and family education, and they will come to your house and do that. So,
I was the nurse who did it.
she was the nurse who did it, and especially with her being a wound care specialist, I want you to talk more about what patient and education, family and patient education looks like in the home, and what all does that entail? What can families learn to better assist and, like you said, provide that effective care?
So, care looks like in the home what it would look like in the hospital. However, you are not running the risk of anything that is happening in the hospital. We have to understand that the hospital is a place where sick people come. So there are all types of infections and all of those types of things that are there, which is why hand washing is key. Key, key, key. Not just hand sanitizer, but hand washing is key. Um, so being at home, not only does it provide you with a sense of security because it's your home, right? Compared to you staying in a hospital, but you had like when you are when I provided care to patients at home, I felt that they were more at ease. Blood pressures were lower, heart rates were lower. They were more receptive to the things that were being taught to them, instead of just having this mindset of I just want to be at home. Upon discharge from hospitals, if you've ever been discharged from a hospital, you know you're like, yeah, 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 give me the paper. Where do I sign so I can go home? But so you don't really get any of the information that we are given to you, and those papers just probably sit either in the car or they just go home and sit on the counter up until somebody says, oh, we no longer need these, and they go in the trash. um, but it is, those papers provide so much information. However, when you're at home, you're not just getting papers, you're getting one-on-one. And as a home health nurse, that's exactly what I did. So I didn't always go in for a patient who had wound care, or always go in for a patient who had who needed their blood pressure taken or anything like that. Although vital signs was definitely my number one thing that I did, because I needed to see where the patient was, and if they had, where their blood pressure was, what their baseline was. But being able to sit with them, and talk with them and see the light bulbs go off for them when I explain to them several things over the years. I will share one story of many. So there was this one patient that I had, and they said that I would call and I would say, hey, can I come and visit you at this time? And every time I would call, they would tell me like, no, you can't come at that time just because I'm not feeling well. So I would say, well, that's what I'm here for. Let me just come at that time so I could see what's going on. Like, why are you not feeling well within this period of time? So long story short, they agreed. I ended up going to their home at that allotted time, and truly were just like out of it, like dizzy, not feeling well, sluggish, the whole nine. So I checked their blood pressure. Once I checked their blood pressure was very low, very low. So I set them down, laid them down actually on their couch, took some pillows because nursing interventions. I don't need a doctor to tell me to do these things. Nursing interventions kicked in, laid them down on their couch, elevated their feet because that helps bring blood flow back to the heart and elevates your blood pressure. So did that. Once this person started to feel okay, rechecked their blood pressure was back to normal within, I would say, give or take 30 minutes. So after that, while they were still laying there, after taking care of them, after consoling them, because again, I'm just not feeling well. I don't know what's going on with my body. After doing these things, I reviewed her medication list. Upon reviewing the medication list, they were taking a number of blood pressure medications. However, I think she was taking three different blood pressure medications. One was BID, which means twice a day, and the other ones were QD, which means once a day. So, with that being said, I called the family members in and asked them, have you ever consulted with her doctor to let them know, hey, her blood pressure is, or these are the symptoms that she's experiencing? She said, no, well, I never thought anything of it. But by 1 o'clock, she's fine. Well, yeah, she's taking her blood pressure. She's taking 3 blood pressure medications at 9. Her blood pressure is bottomed out by 10. She's resting. By 1 o'clock, she's normal again. So imagine for 4 hours a day of this lady's life, she just was not living at the quality of life that she could have been living in had the caregiver just known to ask the question or to do the assessment and say, something's not right here. We cannot normalize what doesn't seem right, right? If the blood pressure is dropping, then we have to understand that these are the symptoms that we're going to experience. No one had ever told them that. As a person being in healthcare, or maybe someone did, I don't know. They just told me that no one told them. But as a person being in healthcare, again, going back to what I said, when you know better, you do better. So educating this person, and not only did I educate them, but I took a step forward and was an advocate for this patient by calling their primary doctor and letting them know, hey, this patient, this is what's been going on. Every time I call, she says this. I finally was able to come over. This is what I'm realizing. Is it possible for her to take these, since these 2 are once a day, can she take 1 in the morning and 1 at night? Because when she's waking up in the morning, her blood pressure is sky high. Why? Because she's only taking this medication during the daytime, right? So now we need to reach homeostasis within our bodies. And homeostasis means that she is stable and her blood pressure is decent across the time of the day, not just at 10 o'clock in the morning before it's on its way to going back up and with no protection or no coverage at night. So in that instance is where home health or having someone come out to you and giving an education to you in the home means a lot more than you just being in the hospital. Because she could have gotten the papers, the work and stuff when she got discharged. But again, yeah. Where do I sign? Because I want to go home.
Because my daddy was definitely one of them folks. Yeah. I want to go home. Even when he came home on hospice, tell me what you got to tell me and then send me home. He wasn't trying to hear nothing else other than I'm trying to go home.
Exactly.
And because he already was a healthcare nut, he was just like, well, I'll just go home and walk and still go to the gym and do all things he knew to do to take care of his body. And so I know my daddy, Lord Jesus, we should have been in that hospital a long time ago, but we couldn't fight him on that. So that is why we have these episodes to educate you all from the lessons we've learned. To all of you out there who have family members that are stubborn like mine, just fight them. Just fight them and call it a day.
Or see if the hospital, again, the little number on the back, see if the home health people can come out to you. So see if your insurance covers for the person to be, to receive home health. Now, that does not cover everything. It does not. So yes, sometimes they may have to go to the hospital. But if they are the type that just need to go in for a checkup or whatever the case may be, then having the advantage of a nurse coming out when something doesn't feel right or things are just not, you just don't know, could definitely help as well.
Okay. As we prepare to wrap up, thank you so much, Shani, for spending your day with us. I just want to ask you a couple of fun questions about yourself. So the first question I want to know is, outside of crocheting, because you said you picked that up during your time of caretaking, what are some other fun hobbies that you love to do in the beautiful, bright city of Long Beach?
Braid hair. So not only do I like to help patients or people with their health physically, but I definitely feel like when your hair is done, it's a mental thing as well.
Agreed.
So definitely braid hair. That was something that I picked up, a hobby that I picked up when I was 15. But given my good friend here who encouraged me in 2020 when all the hair salons had closed down and all of those things, I was definitely one that was braiding hair in the home. And I treated my home like a hospital. So you definitely got your blood pressure. I mean, not your blood pressure, but your temperature check before coming in. I cleaned and disinfected everything after every client using those good old fashioned Clorox wipes that we could not find back in 2020, but definitely had some. So that was definitely something that kind of helped me outside of being a nurse. But as you can see, I just like taking care of people.
He does, because I was getting my hair braided by her as a kid. So she has been my one and only braider my entire life. I don't let anybody else outside of another friend of ours braid my hair
Mm-hmm.
because she is very clean, but she also is going to make sure that your hair and scalp, like everything about her, is making sure that you are fully taken care of. And she hypes you up because when she spin that chair around, she put the mirror, it's a whole hype session, and now everybody's feeling great about themselves. So absolutely. The second question I want to ask is, what are your favorite family things to do with your husband and your girls? How do you all maximize your time well spent together?
I just love them. I really do. And as we're getting older, I think I'm falling more and more in love with them. I've always loved being a mom. Um, I am a softball mom. So soft spending time on the field is definitely our heart's joy. We definitely love that. We speak life into one another. And it definitely teaches our children that, you're going to get another try, right? Like 3 strikes, you may be out. Sometimes you hit the ball, sometimes you don't. But the main thing is just to go out there and have fun. And no matter what, they could always look in the stands and either see myself or my husband sitting there. Um, Even after a long shift of taking care of people, I go and support my children. So the field is definitely something that we do together. With my girls, something that we do together is we actually are really funny together. Like we're really funny. We like telling jokes, just having conversations, just talking. Sometimes though, there is a time where we have quiet time. They absolutely love it. Um no electronics, no nothing. Sometimes we just sit and just have a conversation, or sometimes we just sit in silence. It's great. It's great. You should try that. And then with my husband, with the things that me and him like to do together, movies have always been a thing for him. And then as we got progressive into our relationship, they have become a thing for me as well. And so now when our kids were younger and we weren't able to like just leave because we didn't have babysitting or whatnot, we would have car dates. That's when we would pull the car up in the driveway to where we could see the door and all of those things. And the girls would be asleep. And me and him would be in the car watching a movie with our snacks. So that was a car date for us.
I love that. I love that. I think that you just gave me an idea. Families adopt car dates. You may not
Car date.
step away for families who may have felt like they had to stop traveling because of, chemo or the type of chemo you're on. Implement the car dates, especially if you have
Download. Yes, download Netflix, HBO, all of those apps on your phone. Stick it up there, connect it to the Bluetooth, lay the seats back, have your snacks,
Mhm.
the best. And then guess what? The travel home is very quick.
Right, because you're just getting out, walk to
You're
the
just
door.
in the house.
Because that
That's it.
also would be fun. You just made me think about something. I've never considered this before in my life, but I know people who have projectors. Put you a screen up for your car date
Yes.
and
Yes.
get that projector going and watch your favorite shows
Mhm.
and movies together and just make it what you want it to be. I often tell families, like, don't stop doing the things that bring you joy, because that also is healthcare. That's
Yes.
also you taking care of yourself, is to continuing to do the things that make yourself healthy as a happy as an individual, but also happy together as
Right.
a couple, as parents, because I know whoever's watching, some of you may even be the children taking care of the parents. What do
Right.
you enjoy doing with the parents? And so as we get ready to close out, my very last question for you, Shani, is how would you encourage families who may be estranged and are having to do this?
That's a really good question. Um my first thought goes to, especially when it comes to children taking care of their parents. Um, if you are an only child, then this doesn't really apply to you. But to have one person take care of so many children, those children should at least be able to divide the load of each other and be able to take care of that one person. Um, I think it goes back to the basis of understanding what love is, right? And oftentimes we may not like the person. We
Right.
may not like the person. However, understanding that what you provide for them, and again, back to your mental health, if something happens to this person, then you don't have the what ifs, you don't have the shoulda, coulda, woulda thoughts. You have done everything that you possibly can do in order to play your part in this, in their healing process or in their journey. Healing may not happen on this side; it may happen over there. So, healing process um, is what I'm gonna say. So, I would just say, I think ultimately, right is always right.
Mhm.
Right is never wrong. So, if you always do what's right, then you'll never be wrong. Whatever that looks like, just do what's right.
That's so good. I hope that you all are encouraged after listening to today's episode. Um, this is looking like it's going to be a part series, a multiple part series, and I'm looking forward to that because so many gems were dropped, so many wisdom shared. It it really was a blessing to have Shawnee be a part of my family's journey when my dad was diagnosed, and many others who came alongside of us as a family and assisted us. And I want to personally, because I've never been able to just say this to you, thank you so much for your friendship. Thank you for your love and your nurturing, because, ooh, Lord, emotion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I still I still consider that to be one of the most hardest and traumatic times of my life. And even though there was only so much you all could do, there was so much you all did. And on behalf of me and my family, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being one of those people that were in our village and who prayed for us and who backed us and who undergirded us, because I do know a lot of families don't have the fortune and privilege to have that. And I just want to say thank you, because whew, I don't know how we would have made it if we didn't have you all's love covering us. And so I really, really appreciate you. Thank you for all the laughter. And, I'll end on this note. To the families who are like me, where you've had to say goodbye, remember that goodbye is temporary. And I also want to say thank you for being with me for the past 6 years and not leaving me. I don't have the testimony of being left just because our dad is gone. Like, you have been there for the past 6 years, and I cannot thank you enough for all the laughter and just the girl talks and just the moments where you've even mothered me and poured into me and have helped me with my perspective and wisdom. Like, whew.
I love you so much. So very much. God knew what he was doing when I was 12 and you was 8. We didn't. Trust in the Lord. Trust in the
With all
Lord.
your heart, because that has meant the world to me. So every family, please be encouraged. I am Ashley Bailey, the founder and owner of the Baylor Strong Project, LLC. Again, we have nurse Raeshon Williams with us today, and we are here to help. If you are not already following the Baylor Strong Project on Instagram and Facebook, feel free to follow us over there for all things pancreatic cancer and any other further education you may need. And also, we do have a newsletter. So please subscribe to our newsletter. If you have any questions about how you can subscribe, you can DM me on Instagram. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you so much for watching Beyond the Diagnosis Part 3. If this conversation helped you, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a caregiver who needs it. We cannot wait to bring Raeshon back to the show. But until then, make sure you go back and watch parts 1 and 2 if you haven't already. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next on Beyond the Diagnosis. See you soon.